Train the muscles, not the joints.
So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you about negative reps versus positive reps. So eccentrics versus concentrics, and whether slow reps affect both those portions of a rep the same way. Now, I just had somebody in the Facebook group ask me if I find that slow positive reps or explosive positive reps are better. Which one do I find I get the most results from? Now, it's interesting when these questions come up because you start to realize that when you change one small variable in something, it changes how your body adapts to it. Now, one thing I've noticed, and I've talked about this in my slow reps versus fast reps video, that slow reps did not work the same way for myself as they do for some people. I find that they just weren't that effective in building muscle because a lot of times you had to use lighter weight in order to compensate for doing those slower reps. And because of the strict nature of the slow rep, I found that my muscle was not getting challenged as much. Now, I know this seems counterintuitive to some of you guys out there, but here's the thing. Just because something is harder doesn't mean it's more effective in tearing down the muscle tissue. Here's my case in point. Sometimes a little bit of momentum can help you get past a sticking point, which is the weak link in the exercise, and therefore you could put more tension or more weight on a different portion of the exercise at the same time, because you're using a little bit of that momentum or a little bit of that speed to get past that sticking point. And of course, you can only be as strong as your weakest link. So if a weak link is already weak, making it weaker will inhibit your rep even more so. So there are certain muscle fibers that are just not getting hit, or certain parts of the range of motion. Now, doing a slow rep once in a while can be still effective to hit, say some weak link, or to work a certain portion of the muscle, or maybe overload one small part, but it does not hit the overall muscle the same way. So I find mixing it up is best, and for the most part, I stay with medium paced reps. I find I get more effective results that way. Now, this one person was talking about slow reps, period, and whether the positive rep is effective at all, because they talked about Frank Zane saying that the positive rep, if you do it slow, is not effective at all. That's what Frank Zane was saying. He said that he didn't get any results from this. So I found the same thing, because sometimes I find if you go super slow on the positive rep, you can use less weight, and therefore then the negative part or the eccentric part of the rep, when you do it slow, is totally ineffective, because now you're using super light weight, so it's not as hard on the muscle. Now, if you're doing a faster rep on the positive or more explosive, sometimes you can get past those sticking points, and guess what? Now you're doing a negative rep with heavier weight. So you can see where I'm going with this. If you're using heavier weight and you do an eccentric with heavier weight, obviously you're going to get more muscle tear down. Now, the other thing is that eccentrics are where most of the muscle breakdown happens, because the stretch and the contraction is happening at the same time. Whereas when you're doing a concentric rep, when you're lifting the weight or you're contracting the muscle, right? Concentric, contracting, almost sounds the same, kind of different, but almost sounds the same. So when you're contracting that muscle, you're not stretching it at the same time. So you're not getting as much breakdown or muscle breakdown. So in essence, if you're going to be using slow reps, it makes more sense to use a slow negative rep. Now, the other thing people use slow reps for, or slow negatives for, is using weight that they can't possibly lift. I mean, and this is kind of dangerous, so I wouldn't recommend this all the time. So once in a while you might want to do this, as long as you have a good spotter or a good setup to make sure that you're not going to collapse with the weight or not, but you do a weight that you cannot lift, like you can't actually do a positive rep with, and then you do a slow negative with it and then rest at the bottom. So an example of this, say you do a heavy bench, you just unrack it and then slow, and then put it on the pins or whatever on a squat rack or a squat cage. So you don't leave it to chance that you might be able to get it up or not. You basically just do the slow rep, and that's it. And make sure you're good and warmed up before you do this if you're going to attempt this. It is a dangerous movement, but that would be another use of the negative rep, which helps you lift heavier weight than you normally would be able to, because you cannot get a positive rep out of that weight, and then you're getting extra muscle breakdown. Now again, you can overdo muscle breakdown, and this is where the danger comes. If you overdo muscle breakdown, guess what? Now you've got a tear, or you've got another issue going on altogether. So you don't want to be overusing this type of principle, if at all. I mean, some people, it's just not a good idea, and some exercises, definitely not a good idea. I mean, doing super heavy negative deadlifts would probably be a disaster for most people's backs, or squats as well. I find that would be a really bad idea in most cases. So anyway, take it with a grain of salt, whatever. That's definitely not something I'd be doing. I also would not be doing excessively heavy weight for negatives on isolation movements. So say a bicep curl, say you can't lift a 100-pound dumbbell, you can't put that in place, but instead you want to do a slow negative with the 100-pound dumbbells. that could be a bicep tear waiting to happen, so don't be doing that either. So if you're going to be doing slow negatives with heavier weight than you can do a positive rep with or 1 rep with, then stick to compounds. Don't use that principle for isolation movements, okay? So yeah, when it comes down to it, I find faster reps work better for me because they do hit the fast twitch fibers, they do break down the tissue better, and I do get past some sticking points that aren't necessarily more effective in breaking down the muscle tissue, so therefore I get a better workout out of that. Now, it's not to say that there isn't some positive effects from pause reps and all this kind of stuff, but as a general guideline, most of the time, I do a medium rep speed for my reps when I'm lifting, and I find I get a lot more muscle breakdown, a lot more muscular development from that. So yeah, if you're gonna do slow reps, if you're not noticing that when you're doing a slow rep positive, slow rep negative, you're not getting any results, then yeah, use a little bit heavier weight and just focus on doing negatives or slower negatives and see if you get a result from that, because it is different doing slow positives and negatives as opposed to doing a fast positive rep and then a slow negative, right? A fast concentric and then a slow eccentric, right? So this is a different principle. So yeah, play around with that, but I think you're gonna notice probably similar results to what I'm noticing here. And the other thing is that if you're injured, then this brings in a totally different realm of rules for you, right? So if you're injured, then you may find doing slow reps is the only way you can train on the positive and the negative side of things. And in that sense, I would encourage you then to definitely do slow reps, because slow reps are safer on the joints. So this is another reason why you might want to incorporate slow reps. It's not about what's more effective, it's about what is going to enable you to be able to train. So that's another factor to take into account. All right. So anyway, I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. And thanks to the patron supporters, and take care for now. Mountain. I think I'm going to get some chocolate covered almonds. They have chocolate covered almonds over there. I might check it out. Oh boy. Chocolate covered almonds. Oh yeah. Yep, let's get some. Chocolate covered almonds is good. You guys stay there. You're hardcore, dedicated to the community.
I am here.
Open no matter what. Mission accomplished. They have some dark chocolate almonds in there. So dark chocolate is actually good for you. I do like chocolate. A lot of antioxidants in chocolate, but of course, there's good and bad to everything. Yeah, don't be eating dark chocolate almonds on your diet. But I'm not dieting right now, so sue me, all right?